Dynamic entrance kicking in the door like that. Turn up to the max, shooting energy up to the sky. Tap into the station 935, it's time to rock. Swooshy color backgrounds just to let you know we fly. Undefeated, never beaten, cause we got the skill. Striking all this black gold, you would think we had a drill. We got what you need, homie, so come and get your fill. Relax and unwind, it's time to anime and chill. It's time to anime and chill. Relax and unwind, it's time to anime and chill.
And we are back. You are now tuned in to Anime and Chill, chilling with your favorite two N-words, the biggest anime nerds. We can say it, you can't. Now this week, I'm kind of riding solo dolo again. My partner is out due to some work issues, but yeah, we're gonna go ahead and keep this thing trucking. Tonight I kind of want to gloss over SummerSlam, and I say that because it's been like 2 weeks now, or at least a week and a half since it happened, and I'm pretty sure that there's other podcasters who have given their opinion on it, but I just want to give my opinion on it, just a little run through. Hunter x Hunter is something else that I really want to dig into because I've been catching up with the Chimera Ant arc. So when we get L back in here, I'll talk to him about it too, but I'm definitely going to talk about SummerSlam, and I'm definitely going to talk about some Hunter x Hunter. So, without any further dudes, I think what I'm going to start with is SummerSlam. Now, for those that don't know, I was actually at SummerSlam in the crowd down there, had floor seats, me and my older brother, and I also did record an episode of Anime and Chill while I was in Vegas, but my audio file was corrupted, so it was like trying to edit it. There were some spaces that were unusable, and I tried to salvage it as much as I could, but I couldn't save the day on that one, and I had to put that one to rest. I will, however, do another sit down with Big Bro, maybe discuss some more wrestling, maybe discuss some anime, because he's another anime head as well. So but let's start off with SummerSlam. I didn't catch the pre-show, so I'm not even going to hold you on that one. But when I walked in the door, because that whole day was just a story in and of itself. But suffice it to say, when we finally did make it to the arena at the specified time, we get there, we walk in the door, and the first match that's on the card is the Raw Tag Team Titles match. And that's RK Bro, Matt Riddle, and Randy Orton taking on AJ Styles and Omos. And that match was like from bell to bell, just a clinic. It was, pardon. That match from bell to bell was just a clinic of tag team wrestling. It was two tag teams going head to head, one of which has a massive powerhouse, and the other team trying to figure out how to incapacitate said powerhouse, or at least keep him out of the ring and away from the ring long enough so that they can incapacitate his smaller partner, that being AJ Styles, the phenomenal AJ Styles, which, yeah, that's gonna be a task on its own. But regardless, in Vegas, Matt Riddle and Randy Orton pick up the victory. So RK Bro, the newly reformed RK Bro, they win the tag titles, the Raw tag titles. So that's the first match on the card. First match on the card. So already I'm feeling good because that was a tag team, or at least a match that I really wanted to see, because I liked all parties involved. That being AJ Styles. Omos is kind of growing on me. Pun intended. Well, not really, but it happened. Omos is kind of growing on me. So, AJ and Omos is cool. But Matt Riddle and Randy Orton, that one was for me, that was the heartfelt moment, at least. Because Matt Riddle, in my opinion, it's like taking a 10-year-old kid and putting him in a 30-year-old man's body. That's kind of a foreshadow to what I'm going to be talking about in Hunter x Hunter a little later, but let's keep it rolling. So yeah, Matt Riddle is just this super excited guy who's like tag teaming with one of his favorite wrestlers. Like, you know what I mean? Do you know what it's like? That's almost like putting you in the mindset of a kid. It's like you're almost like a Make-A-Wish kid that's like, hey man, I get to tag with my favorite wrestler. Dude, do you know how awesome that is? So yeah, that excitement, that energy that people would feel to tag team with Randy Orton, Riddle gives that to you. He puts that on the screen. He lets you see that. So you get to share in his jubilation. For those that don't know, that's another word for joy. So yeah, the match after that one though was I think it was Eva Marie and Alexa Bliss. Yeah, because that match was kind of early. But I'm not a fan of any match with Eva Marie in it because she doesn't take her craft seriously. She's a model and she looks good. Don't get me wrong. She's a very beautiful woman, but at the same time, it's like you want to be a wrestler and you're terrible at it, but I'm supposed to, root for you or at least, have some kind of emotion toward you because you really want to do this. You're a beautiful young doesn't impress me. Beautiful women are a dime a dozen. So what can you do that is different from all the other women? Because if you want to get into it, they got Mandy Rose, they got Carmella, and both of them kind of, are on the same vibe. So yeah, your gimmick is not even unique to you. But regardless to all of that, Alexa Bliss, even though they no longer have Bray Wyatt, even though the Fiend is gone, they're still trying to milk that character by having Alexa Bliss continue on with that instead of them trying to fade that character out and try to bring her back to, her normal self. Granted, I understand she likes playing the role. I mean, I would too. It's a dope role, but it's like without the counterpart, it just feels like y'all took something that was made for a man and you reconfigured it so that it fit a woman, and now it's hers because she's doing it. As I stated, I like Alexa Bliss. She's cool. She won the match with a DDT, which, if that's like, come on, man. Last person to win a match with a DDT was Jake the Snake. And that's back when DDTs were considered a finisher. Come on, man. So, nonetheless, moving along, we go to the United States title match. Now, funny story. The day after I arrived in Vegas, which I arrived Thursday night, so Friday morning, well, Friday afternoon, my brother and I were going to the gym, and on our way to the gym, we ran into Damian Priest. And so I got a picture with Damian Priest. It's on my Facebook. If y'all want to go look me up, it's at Kamikaze. So yeah, I got a picture with Damian Priest, who was the challenger going in, and kind of wished him luck, as fans do. We don't know whether or not that person is going to get the title until they get the title. So, as of right now at SummerSlam, I'm 2 for 2 with RK Bro and Alexa Bliss. And so I'm like, okay, next match, I'm pulling for Damian Priest, and I'm rooting hard. I was like, man, I just took a picture with the guy, so he gotta win, man. So I can say I took a picture with the champ before he was the champ. I took a picture with the champ before it was cool. You know what I'm saying? So Damian Priest ends up winning. So now I'm 3 for 3. And I'm like, oh man, this feels really good. So the next match is the Usos taking on the Mysterios. And again, I'm pulling for my favorite tag team in the world, that being the Usos. Yes, sir, because I've been down since day one. You dig? I'm pulling for the Usos hard, and I'm rooting for my team. I'm like, we gotta get it. Because we already done seen 2 title changes, that being the Raw tag team titles and the United States title change hands. I'm like, the Usos gotta hold it down. And that they did. The match with the Mysterios was chef's kiss. Mwah! Beautiful. Just a bunch of counters and false finishes, and like it was lovely all the way to the last drop. And that brings me to the double super kick that the Usos do, where they both stand in one corner and then got you sitting on your knees in the middle of the ring, and they come out with a super kick from both sides, like just stereo super kicks. Bruh, that is just, oh Lord. But then the final Samoan splash, which ended it. And I believe it was my man, right hand man, main event Jey Uso, who scored that victory, holding the tag titles for the Bloodline, which we gonna get to the Bloodline a little bit later on in the night. Y'all just hold on tight. So now I'm sitting 4 for 4. I'm feeling lucky. You know what I mean? Being in Vegas, it's like, bro, I'm feeling lucky. Every time I done hit that slot machine, that shit then came up 777s. Fuck you mean? So the next match after the Uso match was Drew McIntyre versus Jinder Mahal And that match had a stipulation that was decided on the Raw prior, where Drew took on Jinder's two goons, Veer and Shanky. And the stipulation in that handicap match was that if Veer and Shanky were to beat Drew McIntyre, he could no longer bring the sword to the ring. This big three-handed hilt gigantic sword that he named after his mother, Angela. Let that one marinate for a second. A gigantic sword that is, bruh, he has big hands. So for him to use two hands and it still be another handful of the hilt left, that's why I called that a three-handed sword. So, at this point in the match, I really didn't want to see this match because I was like, one, I'm not really a fan of Jinder Mahal. Two, the build was kind of, ridiculous with the whole sword thing and building a whole entire feud around a sword that you really can't hit somebody with. So again, I ask why? But I went to the restroom and stopped by the concession stand at this point, which, as my brother was trying to state in the episode that I cut that ended up getting corrupted, their whole point system, as in the cash register and everything in the entire venue, went down, so they couldn't sell any concessions that whole night, which pissed my brother off because he was hungry. But I digress. Back to my point. Drew won, which again I was pulling for Drew because like I said, I'm not really a big fan of Jinder Mahal. I met him once at an Access, didn't really care to get his autograph because at the time he was a mid-carder, and then about a month later they hot shotted him to the WWE title, and I was like, so that happened. But no, so now I'm sitting 5 for 5, and I'm like, man, I'm feeling like I can't lose. I'm feeling like I just can't lose. And then it happened. If I had to count one L for the entire night, it would be this. So, for weeks and weeks and months, they've been building Bianca Belair versus Sasha Banks, the rematch, or as I have branded it, Sasha versus Bianca, run it back. So they keep promoting the match as though it's gonna happen, knowing that Sasha wasn't available. So at the last minute, when Bianca came out, she made her entrance. That's when the announcer says that Sasha Banks was unable to compete. So they're gonna give us a replacement. And the replacement they chose was, wait for it, if you guessed Carmella, you are correct. And the audience audibly groaned. Like, bro, you could hear the entire audience just, not this again. Because we've seen Bianca Belair versus Carmella like 3 times already. And it was like, dude, we don't want to see this again. So as we're all collectively preparing ourselves for a dreadful umpteenth match, a familiar drum kick hits and the whole crowd lights up because we all know who it is. The man has come back around. Yes, I said it. At SummerSlam, Becky Lynch made her return. So, for those of you, I was trying to record this episode tonight, but again, I'm solo dolo. But you can't see, but I am wearing a Becky Lynch shirt. So, that's in spirit of the man herself. So, Becky Lynch comes in and disposes of Carmella like quickly, makes quick work of Carmella, getting her out of the ring and away from ringside. She gets back in the ring and she has a face-off with Bianca Belair. And she grabs a microphone and she tells Bianca, how about the EST and the man blow the roof off of this place? Now, me as a fan, I'm sitting there like, bitch, the roof is already blown off. That bitch is sitting crooked like T.I.'s hat. Okay? It's not fully on its axis. Okay? So freaking Bianca reluctantly agrees to the match. And I'm sitting there like, that was a stupid idea. Why would you do that? That's dumb. Like, you're prepared for Sasha Banks. You wasn't prepared for Carmella, but you faced Carmella enough times to know pretty much what you're getting into. But Becky Lynch is just coming back off of maternity leave. You didn't face Becky before she had a kid. Now she's coming back off maternity leave. She's fresher than, bruh. She's fresher than 3 Glade plugins, goddamn. So I'm trying to tell you, but I'm guessing that was the company saying, no. She left as a champion. She didn't technically lose her title. She had to give it up. So technically, we're gonna have her pretty much just get the title back. This is just a handover ceremony. Why do I say that? Because when Bianca reluctantly agrees to the title match, Becky extends her hand for a handshake. Bianca shakes Becky's hand. Becky immediately clocks her in the jaw with the same hand she just shook hers with. When she clocked Bianca kind of spun around like she was taken aback. Like, you don't expect Becky coming in as a babyface to pull a heel move. And then to turn around and hit her with the rock bottom, which they are now effectively calling the manhandle slam, which is a whole nother move because it's a pump handle uranagi. That's why she called it the manhandle, because it's a pump handle slam, but it's a uranagi. Now she's taking away the whole pump handle part of it. So why are y'all still calling it the manhandle? It's no longer a handle. There's no handle. It's just the rock bottom. Like, come on. When Kevin Owens took the stunner, y'all didn't change it to the KO. Y'all didn't call out the knockout, the hot shot. No, y'all still called it the stunner. Y'all just said KO's using the stunner. So how come when Becky uses the rock bottom, y'all can't call it what it is? Oh, now it's a whole nother move. I'm sorry, I was a huge rock fan. I know the rock bottom when I see the rock bottom. And Bianca Belair had just hit rock bottom. Okay? So 25 seconds after Becky issued the challenge, she is your new SmackDown Women's Champion. So, I'm always going to pull for Becky because it's Becky. So, I'm 5 for 5, 6 for 6. I done lost count. 5 for 5. We're going to stay there. I'm now 5 for 5. And so, the next match is a match my brother and I kind of had a debate over. Because I was telling him before SummerSlam that Edge needed the victory against Seth Rollins, because Edge, since coming back, Edge won the Royal Rumble, and that was about all he won. All of his big pay-per-view main events, because they were for the title, and technically he's not cleared to be like a full-time wrestler. I don't think they're ever going to give him a title, because then that means he would have to be available to work more than 5 matches a year, which at the moment, that's what his contract is at. So herein lies a non-title match with Seth Rollins. Well, a non-title match, he's got to win one of those, because, you know, he's got to at least get some kind of victories in his books. He's a veteran. He's a veteran that's coming back off of injury. So if he constantly loses back to back to back to back, what does that say about him? Does that say, his injuries were so severe that he hasn't fully recovered like he thought he did? Or, you know what I mean? Because when you look at winning and losing a contest, it's like, especially if you're coming back from any kind of injury, it's like mentally you think, am I ready for this? Can I do this again? The last time I did this, I hurt myself. The last time I did this, somebody else hurt me. Can I get past that? You see what I mean? So for Edge to win this match, this was a big feather in his cap, especially against a guy like Seth Rollins, who is a former, he's a Grand Slam champion. He's won every singles title that they have to offer, plus the tag titles. So yeah, no, beating Seth Rollins is not like just beating any random guy on SmackDown or on Raw. No, you beat Seth Rollins at SummerSlam. You beat a major star at a major pay-per-view, which lets the fans know, no, I still got something in the tank. I might not go like I used to go, but I still got something in the tank. And the entrance that Edge gave at SummerSlam was, bro, hats off, heads down. Like, bro, you gotta get that man his props, the theatrics, because he did somewhat of a, he tapped into his Brood days, right? So the first half of his entrance was the Brood entrance, right? Where you get the old school breathy music, the and then you get the doom 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 doom, like, bruh. So when Nash, like, bruh, that was a nostalgia pop, and it was like Edge tapping back into the old Edge. You know what I mean? Pulling out the all the stops that he was going to need, which was kind of an omen for the match, that he was going to have to dig past his limits in order to beat a top tier wrestler like Seth Rollins. For Seth Rollins, it was a feather in his cap, because you're putting down a Hall of Famer, a legend. You are taking on somebody who paved the way for you, and you have an opportunity to, you know, put them back in their place, like as to say, hey man, it was cool that you came back at the Royal Rumble. That was a nostalgia pop. Hey, it was great, but guess what, old man? Step your ass to the side and let the young guys do this. So, like, it could have went either way. But me personally, I was pulling for Edge. And sure as rain, Edge won. Like, bruh, Edge pulled out everything he had, plus some things he didn't have. Like, at one point, he pulled out a glam slam, which, for those that know, that's Beth Phoenix's move. For those that don't know, Beth Phoenix is Edge's wife. So, I always love it when you have two wrestlers who are a couple, when they can perform their significant other's move and do it right. Like, Brie Bella tried to do it and it just didn't turn out the way she wanted. I'ma say it like that. So, it's not too many couples in the game that, you know, pull out each other's moves, and usually when you do see it, it's usually the woman pulling out her husband's move. Johnny Gargano and Candice LeRae, them two, they do a good job of using each other's moves. They do a really good job of using each other's moves from time to time, and will use it like it's their own move. But see, that's the thing. You got to be so confident in using the move. You have to make it your own. You can't, you know, try to do it exactly the way the person who originated it, or the person who made it famous does it. You've got to find a way to do it, but at the same time, make it look like it's you doing it and not you trying to be that person doing their move, because then you just look like a copycat. Like, even with Kevin Owens taking the stunner, like he spoke to Steve Austin and he asked Steve, is it okay? And Steve said, no, yeah, go ahead. That's your move now. Steve Austin has bequeathed the Stone Cold Stunner to Kevin Owens. And yes, I did say bequeathed, meaning passed down, handed over. So, So Edge won the match. He pulled out every move except Christian's kill switch or unprettier. But he was about to use it. That was the one move he didn't get a chance to use. He hit the spear, he hit the execution, he hit the educator. Like, bro, he was hitting all of his moves, hit one of Beth's moves, attempted one of Christian's moves. Like, Edge was he was desperate for that win, right? And so it came down to the crippler crossface. Well, not the crippler crossface, because that kind of insinuates Chris Benoit, which a lot of people don't want to talk about him, but I was a big fan. Moving on. He puts Seth Rollins in a crossface, a regular crossface, and that's not working. Seth is crawling around trying to get out of the crossface. He makes it to the ropes, finally gets to the ropes, and now Edge has to break the hold. He breaks it for a second, puts it right back on him. This time, he rolls Seth into the middle of the ring. And again, Seth is trying to fight out of the crossface part of it. So Edge is trying so hard to get the crossface put on. He grabs Seth by the hair. He grabs a handful of his hair and just starts slamming his face against the mat, the canvas. So he's slamming his face on the mat. And he must have slammed his face on the mat about 5-6 times, maybe 7. And then from there, still in a crossface position, he put Seth Rollins in a sleeper. So it's a sleeper mixed with a crossface. And it's like, yeah, Rollins has no choice but to tap out. So now I'm 6 for 6. So I'm like, yeah, this is going tremendous. Tremendous. So the next match comes down to the final 2. The final 2 matches. The first of which is the WWE Championship match. I'm sorry, before I get to that, I skipped over the segment between The Miz, John Morrison, and Xavier Woods. It really wasn't anything important. It really had nothing to do with the rest of the night. It was just like an interlude. I know it's one match I'm missing. I knew I was missing one match. I was like, hold up. So I gave y'all the Edge and Seth Rollins match a little early. The match before that was the Raw Women's Title Triple Threat, which put Charlotte Flair against Rhea Ripley against Nikki Cross. Told you, I'm not gonna call her by that stupid gimmick name. I'm sorry, I don't like it. It's dumb. So the match was great. And I say that because each member of the match played her role to perfection. Charlotte's arrogance was the theme for her. Her arrogance of trying to ignore Nikki Cross by literally throwing her out of the ring every chance she got. Like not even fighting her, just throwing her out of the ring. Like, you're not supposed to be here anyway. So she throws her out of the ring constantly and tries to keep going head up with Rhea Ripley. And Nikki Cross keeps coming in, messing up everything. There's a corkscrew moonsault off the top that Charlotte does, taking out both Nikki and Rhea. That was just, bruh, that moonsault is a thing of beauty. Then you got the spot where the first time I thought Charlotte was gonna win. If it's not obvious, I was pulling for Charlotte Flair in this match. So there's a spot where Charlotte Flair does figure 8, and she's got Rhea Ripley in the figure 8, and it's looking like the match is over. And then Nikki Cross climbs to the top and jumps down on Charlotte's well, not her chest, because of the way she's bent. It's more like her ribs. She comes down on Charlotte's ribs, forcing her to break the figure 8. That goes on for a little longer. They kick Rhea Ripley out. She's holding her knee because Charlotte put a hurting on that thing. And then Nikki Cross starts putting up a fight against Charlotte Flair, and it's looking like Nikki Cross is gonna pull it out. She climbs up to the top rope and goes for that cross body, and Charlotte sidesteps, and Nikki goes crashing into the canvas on her bad knee, and immediately Charlotte puts her in the figure eight and Nikki Cross taps out. Your new Raw Women's Champion, Charlotte Flair. So now I'm 7 for 7. So going into the WWE Championship match, Bobby Lashley versus Goldberg. Now, my brother was talking about how good a shape Goldberg's in. And he's like, yo, dude, Goldberg looks fantastic. He's in great shape. And which he is. I'm not going to say that Goldberg wasn't in great shape. He was in very great shape. But see, there's being in good shape, and then there's being in ring shape. And Bobby Lashley has been the champion for what, 8-9 months now? Something like that. And has been dominating. Not just winning his matches, dominating in these matches. So if anybody's in good ring shape, it's Bobby Lashley. Whereas Goldberg had to train to get back into ring shape. But again, he's still an old man. And that's what I was trying to tell my brother. But look, he's in good shape. Yeah, he's in great shape. But is he in good ring shape? That's the question. And that match showed that he wasn't really in good ring shape. And it kind of started out Goldberg's match, but it was pretty much spear. Lashley rolls out the ring. Spear. Lashley rolls around. He gets Lashley back in the ring. Spear. Jackhammer. Lashley kicks out. Goldberg sets up for one final spear, and MVP hits him in the back of the leg with the cane. And so when he hits Goldberg in the back of the knee, Goldberg's whole leg buckles. And I was like, up, it's done. I knew it from that point on. Lashley immediately targeted that leg, and he did a frontwards chop block where he chop blocks you from the front, sending Goldberg flying through the air. Then when Goldberg rolled out of the ring, he picked him up, put him on his shoulders, and the little fireman's carry move that he does on the outside where he usually slams a guy's head into the ring post, he set up like that, but except he didn't have his head in position. So I'm figuring, how's he gonna do this? And then he started to ram Goldberg's knee into the ring post. He must have did it about 3 times, bro. I was like, yeah, no, Goldberg is done. He's done. He threw Goldberg back in the ring. He was setting up for his own spear, and Goldberg was having trouble getting back to his feet. And I'm sitting there and I'm talking to my brother and this guy that was standing next to us. I was like, yeah, no, call it. I was like, the ref gonna have to call this match. Goldberg can't even stand. And I'm sitting there like, call it, ref. He's done. Call it. He can't make it to his feet. Call the match. And sure enough, they called the match. The announcer said Goldberg is unable to compete. Therefore, the winner of this match is still WWE champion. Is Bobby Lashley. But Lashley wasn't happy with that victory. Oh no, the Almighty was still pissed off. So what he did was he went outside, he got a chair, and he rammed the chair into the back of Goldberg's knee. Then he got the wailing on my man's knees, like just whipping his legs, as Charlie Murphy would say. R.I.P. We miss you, Charlie. Like, yeah, he whipping his legs, boy, I swear to God. he whipped that boy's leg so bad he couldn't move. Whipped his leg so bad, his son had to jump in. His teenage son jumped on Bobby Lashley's back, and Lashley snatched him off his back, yoked him up in the hurt lock, put that little boy to sleep. And everybody got mad at Lashley, talking about, oh, I can't believe you attacked him. Attacked him? This motherfucker jumped on my back. How the hell did I attack him? I defended myself. So yeah. So at SummerSlam, not only did Goldberg get his ass whooped, his son got his ass whooped too. The father-son beat off, nigga. So that motherfucker, he said, I'm gonna beat you. He's like, first, I'm gonna beat you. Then my son's gonna beat you. We gonna have us a good old-fashioned father-son beat-off. Shout out to Family Guy. But, so after the match, or after the beatdown that Lashley put on Goldberg's son, MVP grabbed the mic and made sure to let everybody know. Yeah, Lashley didn't know who that was. He had no way of knowing that was Goldberg's son. All he knew is somebody jumped on his back and he did what he would do to anybody. He was like, that could have been anybody that jumped on his back and the results would have been the same. They'd have been put the fuck down. So that leads us, ladies and gentlemen, to the main event of the evening, that being Roman Reigns taking on John Cena. And boy howdy did that match start off kind of weird, because it started off with Cena trying to take control, but all he kept doing was trying to hurry up and get Roman in a roll-up. Kept rolling him up, trying to get a 3 count. Roll him up, get an easy 3 count. Roll him up, get an easy 3 count. Not working. So when Roman said, you know what, fuck this shit, let me start fighting my match, and began to dominate John Cena, and that's saying something. Freaking, he wrestled his match, slowed it all the way down, and just drugged John Cena's ass through the mud. So then, I want to say about 3/4 of the way through the match, John Cena started trying to make his little comeback. He hit an FU in the middle of the ring. Pinned him. 1, 2, kick out. They kept going. Back and forth. Roman took the lead again. Somehow they ended up outside the ring. John Cena hit a FU through the announce table. Rolled Roman in the ring. Pinned him. 1, 2, kick out. So after the second one, Cena's like, yeah, nah, I gotta find a way to put him down. So Roman starts climbing to the top turnbuckle, which he doesn't do often or at all. But as he's climbing up there, Cena sees him. He clocks him, throws him over his shoulders, and hits one last FU from the second turnbuckle, dropping him in the middle of the ring. And I was like, yeah, that's it. I was like, if he kicks out of this, then it's a guarantee that he's winning. So Cena hits the FU from the second rope, pins Roman. 1, 2, kick out. Roman kicked out of not only a third FU, but one from the second turnbuckle. And so it was like we seen John Cena's biggest move. And so now the only thing that's left was Superman punch, spear. 1, 2, 3. And still Universal Champion, the head of the table, the tribal chief, Roman Reigns. And now everyone in Las Vegas can acknowledge him. But there was one man in particular in Las Vegas who decided to acknowledge the head of the table. And in that moment, in the back of my mind, I heard the quote from Street Fighter. Uh-oh, here comes a new challenger. Because Brock Lesnar's music hits, and this man comes walking to the ring like something out of Man vs. Wild. That dude with his big ass gorilla bear goatee, beard, I should say, his big ass, thick ass, bushy ass beard, and a man bun. Like, what? Like, dude, those two things don't match. One says hipster, the other says rugged outdoorsman. Like, the fuck? Those two, they are polar opposites. So, suffice it to say, Lesnar stalks around the ring for a bit before walking up the steps that were detached from the ring post and just stepped onto the apron like there was no gap there. Gets in the ring and has a face-off with Roman Reigns. And that's to lead into the next feud, I'm guessing, or at least the feud going into Saudi Arabia. You know, Saudi Arabia, now that the fans are back, the Saudi Arabia, oh, y'all gotta come out here again, even though the fans don't want y'all to go out there. But I digress. Before I finish up, the last thing that happened after Roman stepped out of the ring after the face-off was Lesnar did what he always does and beat up John Cena. German suplexed him a couple of times, F5'd him, sent everybody home happy. So that was SummerSlam. Yeah, man. And I do apologize for not being able to have the episode I did with my brother up, and it was just technical difficulties all the way around. But I digress. I will have him on at another time. Now, let's get into some of this Hunter x Hunter, because that shit was like, bro, oh my goodness. So where I left off with them coming out of the game, which I think it was Hunter Island. It was something island. I forget the name of the game, but think it was Hunter Island, and they ran into someone at the end of that one. Gon's dad kind of tricked him because there were two cards. One card would take Gon directly to him. The other card would take him directly to Kite. And the way he set it up is that the card that was obvious to send him, that you would think would send Gon to his dad, Gin, he switched. It was like he switched the destinations of the cards. So the card that he thought would send him directly to Gin sent him to Kite, which he met Kite once before in the first season. But this time him and Killua will get there, and Kite they don't tell you where he is, but when they get there, it's like this swamp, this dreary swamp, and Kite is fishing. And when Gon and Killua get there, at first Gon thinks it's his dad Gin. So he calls out to his dad, Gin, it's me, it's Gon. And as he starts walking, Killua grabs him. And Killua was like, wait, I don't think that's your dad. And the first thing Kite does is darts over to them and smacks them around. And Killua was like, hey, what the hell is wrong with this dude? Then he uses his Nen ability, which is a roulette weapon. Go figure. It's a clown with a wheel with 10 numbers on it. 1, 0 through 9. Right? And so one of the numbers, or whichever number he gets, is a different weapon. So this, I believe the number is 4 that gives him the gun. And so, yeah, he rolls a 4 and starts shooting at Gon and Killua. And it's like, Killua was like, hey man, what the hell is wrong with this dude? Like, we don't even know him and he's just shooting at us. And so that's when Kite once again swats at Killua. And Killua was thinking like, yo, this dude is trying to kill me. Then he sees a bug, the bug that Kite actually kills, or that Kite swats away. And then Kite ends up shooting it. He tells Gon and Killua, he's like, that's a chimera ant. It's a carnivorous ant that is indigenous to the wild. And what they do, he's like, they eat flesh and bone, and they evolve. He's like, they eat living things, meat, any kind of meat. He's like, they're carnivorous ants that grow and evolve. Suffice it to say that the little bugs that we see at the beginning are, how could I say this? They're ants in comparison to what they become. And yes, that is a pun, a well-deserved pun, but still, when you see the evolution of these chimera ants, and because at first they're only eating animals, right? And so they're evolving, and when they evolve, they take on some characteristics or traits of whatever animal they consumed. But then again, if they weren't consuming it themselves, they were bringing it to the queen, which was the main goal anyway, to bring all of the meat to the queen so that she can consume it, so that she can continue to lay eggs. because she's supposed to be gathering food and storing food so that when she's ready to birth the king, excuse me, so that when the queen is ready to birth the king, that he can be as strong as possible. Well, one of the chimera ants run into a village of people. And in that village, they give you a day in the life of these poor villagers. And how they start you out is they show you this little boy and his little sister. And the little boy couldn't be more than, I don't know, 6 years old. So the little girl has to be about 3 or 4. And it's like they're out and they run into a snake, a big, well, not a big snake, but yeah, it's big enough. And the snake rears up at the sister, and the little boy grabs his stick and he smacks the snake in the head, and he's, go away. And he tells his sister, don't worry, I'll protect you. They get home and you meet the mom, and then you see how poor they really are. And so she's making stew, and they're telling mom, oh yeah, mom, we big brother protected me, and this, that, and the third, da, 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 da. And they just give you this moment, this heartfelt moment of an older brother trying to protect his little sister. Well, the next day, they're like, hey, the sister and the brother are like, hey, tomorrow let's go fishing early so that we can try to catch more fish so that mom can have a bigger meal to make. That way everybody can be happy, and this, that, and the third. So they get up the next morning, they go out to the creek or the lake, and they're out fishing. They catch like 2 or 3 fish. They're not huge fish, but they're big enough, right? And so as they're fishing, we hear the little girl scream. The camera pans around, and we see this big creature standing in front of the boy. The little girl is cowering and hiding behind her brother, and he's like afraid, but he's still got to protect his sister. He's back up. I said back up, and he turns for a second to tell his sister, don't worry, I'll protect you. But what comes out is, don't worry, and then he gets eaten. He gets eaten, the sister gets eaten, and that's when you realize, oh shit, this shit just got real. At least that's when I realized that shit. Because I was like, somebody's going to come to save them, because it's anime. They're not just going to kill off kids in an anime. Hunter x Hunter said, fuck them goddamn kids. So the chimera ant eats the kids, or at least kills them and takes them back to the queen. And when she eats them, the next generation of ants that she gives birth to are more intelligent, and they're more human-like, and they take on characteristics of the humans. So for a good bit of this arc, it's humans dying. Even a couple of the hunters that you meet at the hunter exam, a couple of them motherfuckers die. Like, and not just in cartoony way. No, these motherfuckers die horrible deaths. Like that chimera ant arc, bruh. The creator of Hunter x Hunter, that motherfucker said, yeah, no, we getting serious now. Shit has real fucking consequences. One of the hunters that died, she was shot in the head by a chimera ant. When the chimera ants start learning how to use guns, because as I said, they evolved. And when the humans were using guns to try to kill them, they found the guns, they fucked around with it until they learned how to use it. And then they were using guns for a minute. So this chimera ant shoots this female hunter, shoots her in the head, and then stands over her body as he pumps round after round after round into her face. The shit was so gruesome that they had to hide the gore. But you still, like, they hid it by putting like a tree branch with foliage in front of it, but you can still see her body sticking out, and you can still see the flashes of the gun. And every time he shot her, her body kind of moved a little bit. Her body moved a little bit. Her body moved. So you knew he was shooting her in the face. Then there was another hunter, the male hunter she was with, I'm assuming was her boyfriend. That nigga had got captured by the chimera ants, and he hid. He escaped their clutches, but was still in their stronghold, and he couldn't find his way out. And then the first Royal Guard chimera ant was born, that being Neferpitou. And the thing about Neferpitou, or as they continue to call her throughout the series, they call her Pitou. Now I say her, but in the series they call her him, and they refer to her with male pronouns. But here's the thing, she's a female cat. Like, she looks like an actual woman that just happens to be a cat. And so she's voiced by a woman. Everything about her screams woman. But they refer to her as a man, and they use male pronouns for her. I don't like that shit. I know she's a girl. I see she's a girl. Fuck it. Neferpitou is a girl. So, and she was my favorite Royal Guard because she was the strongest. And just like, bruh, the coolest out of all of them. When she was born, the first thing she did was tell them about the stowaway. The human they captured that avoided being killed and was hiding out in their stronghold, pointed to him and said, "Why do you have a live human hiding under them bones?" They pulled that man out. They was getting ready to kill. They wanted to question him about the Hunter Association and about humans in general. And he was, "I'm not telling you anything," and this, that, and the third. And that bitch said, "I don't need you to." She was like, "Fine, you don't have to tell me anything, but you're gonna tell me everything." And at first I didn't understand what it meant until you see this man. The next scene, they have him, he's sitting in a chair. Like, well, not even a chair, it's more like a doctor's chair or a dentist's chair. And he's sitting in this chair, he's naked. And you hear him talking in a low monotone voice, saying, "Oh, well, this is how you use nan, and this is how you do that, and this is what that means, and this is what that means." And he's just very, very monotone, almost robotic. And when you see his face, it's like he has this blank stare, this 100-yard stare. And then they zoom up, well, not zoom up, but they pan up, and you see Neferpito lobotomizing this motherfucker. She has his head cracked open with his brain sticking out, and she's sitting there using her surgical tools, which was the Nen ability that she developed because she's a specialist. And so she's sitting there poking at his brain, and she's finding all the answers that she wants just from poking at his brain. She's lobotomizing him. And after lobotomizing him and figuring out everything she needs to know, like how to spot people with strong Nen so that they could bring them back to the queen, to feed them to the queen, so that they don't got to keep grabbing humans by the hundreds and the thousands just to satisfy her. They can bring stronger humans. That way is less amounts of humans that it takes. That way the king can be birthed faster. So once he tells her all about Nen, she turns around, yeah, kill him. You can feed him to the queen. I got everything I need from him. Now, while all of that is going on, Gon and Killua are riding with Kite and Kite's little clique that he got. Okay, and they're magical beast hunters. And they've been assigned to look into the Chimera Ant incidents and what's going on in all the cities with the Chimera Ants. And so that's why Kite was out there looking for them. And so Gon and Killua were like, hey, do you mind if we tag along? And he's like, yeah, sure, but I'm not holding your hands and I'm not babying you. Y'all got Nen, you know how to use it, you're licensed hunters, so I'm not responsible for you. You protect yourself. And if you ever see me in a situation where I'm in jeopardy, don't help me. You run, I'll get out on my own. I said all of that to say this. When Pito was born, her Nen ability was so powerful that her Ren could reach like miles away. And as Kite and Gon and Killua were getting closer to finding out where the Chimera Ants were hiding, well, Kite figured it out, but he couldn't get close. And it was like when they finally found a way to get close, it was like Pito had woke up, sensed Kite, and was like, you know what? I'm gonna go test out my powers real quick. I'll be right back. This bitch is perched up on this mountain of an anthill. And her legs, because Pito is like, if you take your pinky finger, right? She's about that big around and she's tall. But remember, she's a cat. And what are cats good at? Jumping, running, chasing shit. So she perches herself on this mountain of an anthill, and her quads and hamstrings swell up to the size of watermelons. Her calves swell up to the size of like cantaloupes, and this bitch shoots out. Like, bruh, she had to be at least 3 or 4 miles away from Kite. At least. Not only did she get to him, she cut this motherfucker's arm off. Not his hand, not his forearm, didn't cut it off at the elbow, cut that shit off from the shoulder. This motherfucker turns around to Gon and Killua. Run. Get out of here. Upon seeing Kite's arm torn off, Gon starts to turn up. Now, for the most part, everybody's Nen or Ren, when it comes out, it's white or silver, if you will. Not Gon shit. Not this time. This nigga shit turned red. And it's like you can see the anger building. And just as he's about to turn it up, Killua chops him on the back of the neck, picks his body up, and takes off running. They go back into town. While in town, they run into their old trainer, Bisky. So, Bisky is like, I'm gonna train you to get your Nen stronger. Right? Pardon me. She's like, I'm gonna train you to get your Nen stronger. So again, training with Bisky helps them tremendously. And that kind of leads into them dealing with Chairman Netero. I forgot the smoke guy. And Nove. It's Nove, and I forgot his partner, but the guy with the big smoke pipe. The two of them and Chairman Netero end up going back into the land where the Chimera ants are. And they're trying to figure out where the queen is, how things are running, and they're also waiting for backup. So, Gon and Killua are tasked with taking out the Smoker God's two proteges, and that being Knuckle and Shoot. Knuckle is in your face, loud, brash kind of guy, right? He's kind of Diesel too. And then Shoot, well, when you first meet Shoot, he's quiet, he's reserving, he keeps to himself. And so you think, well, Shoot must be a coward, because every time he has the opportunity to take somebody down, he can't do it. He loses his edge, he loses his nerve, so to speak. But then later on, when you see him fighting one of the royal guards, it's like dude is holding his own. Then you realize his Nen ability only kicks in when he's in jeopardy. Meaning he has to be backed into a corner in order for his Nen ability to really take hold. But yeah, I'm not gonna sit here and like try to talk you through the entire Chimera Ant arc. It's a good arc, like really good. What I do want to get to though is Neferpitou versus Gon. Like, and I say that to say this because when Killua grabbed Gon and took off with him and they went to go train with Bisky, the whole time Gon is keeping faith that Kite is still alive. that either Kite beat Neferpito, or even if he didn't beat Neferpito, maybe they captured him and they got him captured somewhere and we're gonna go save him. No, Neferpito killed that motherfucker that same night. The night she took Kite's arm, when Gon and Killua left, that bitch took this nigga's head, then turned around and stitched his corpse back together and puppeted this motherfucker and made him attack Gon. Now, before I get into the fight with Gon and Neferpito, I gotta bring up the king, Meruem. And this nigga was born after all of the royal guards. So there's Neferpito, she was the first one. Shawapuf. Shawapuf is this dude, he's tall, he's blonde, he's got antenna, and he's got butterfly wings. Then you've got Yupimaru, I think that's his name. Yupimaru, who was the only royal guard who didn't evolve from a human. He evolved from an animal or from a magical beast. So he's like, I don't want to say he's the weakest, but his Nen ability, his Nen is the weakest. So there's the three of them: Neferpito, Shawapuf, Yupimaru. And then there's the king. This motherfucker Meruem. And for a long time, you don't know his name. Well, you do, but it's one of those, because when he was born, he's a preemie. He birthed himself. He prematurely erupted from his mother's womb. Like literally tore his way out of his mother's womb, killing her in the process. Before she died, some of the ants that evolved from humans that had medical experience were trying to keep her alive as long as possible. When Chairman Netero and Nove in the Smoker God showed up, she was like, the queen was literally on her deathbed. And the last thing she spoke was the king's name, Meruem. She said, Meruem. My son's name is Meruem. Chairman Netero heard that, stuck that in the back of his head. As I stated, Netero, Nove, and the Smoker Guy were in the land, and they were pretty much picking off the Chimera Ant fleet, one troop at a time. So, it got to a point. Meruem, the king, did not know his own name. There was, he wanted to prove his superiority in every way. Coming out of the egg, out of the larva, man, he smacked one of them Chimera ants with his tail. My nigga's head exploded. His body dropped. Another one went to check on this motherfucker. He smacked that nigga too. His head exploded. And I'm like, what? Damn, bro. He ain't even really hitting y'all. He's smacking y'all with his tail. Hell, it was one scene, Neferpito was trying to explain something to him, and he smacked her with the tail. Her head didn't explode, but She did feel that motherfucking hit. My man turned around. He was like, He said, Pito, you have my respect. I was trying to kill you with that attack. And this bitch is like, I am not worthy, sire. But yeah. So Meruem didn't know his own name. Didn't even know he had a name. So he ends up, in order to prove his superiority over all races of creatures, including humans, he got into board games. Why? I don't know. Fucking he starts playing all types of strategic board games. Like chess, shogi, I think is gongi is the last one. And that's, I want to say, like Japanese chess is with the black and white pieces that have the I want to say the Japanese characters on them that tell you what the name of the piece is, whether it's a bishop or a rook or whatever. But it's pretty much the Japanese version of chess, or Chinese version of chess. I'm not sure which culture it comes from, but I do know it's a Asian form of chess. But I know China has one and Japan has one. But I digress. The name of the game that they were playing was Gongi. And in all the board games, Meruem had beaten all of the top champions and beat them decisively, mind you. And what he would do, he would read a book on a board game, like read it from front to back in a matter of minutes, and then play the top champion in that game and just embarrass him. Like, make him look like a fool. And then tell him, if you win, you get to keep breathing. If you lose, I kill you. And he beats these people and then kills them. So he gets to this game of Gongi and he reads up on it and he's like, okay, I think I got it now. And they bring in the champion. The champion is this blind girl. And she comes from a poor family and she sounds sick, like she sounds congested, like her nose is stopped up. So she comes in, she sits down, and the first game they play, Meruem's like, okay, I'm not gonna try anything funny, I'm gonna just play a straight up game. She tells him, because I'm blind, can you do me the courtesy of announcing your moves? And I will announce mine. So they play the first game, she beats him. And then she apologizes for beating him because she thinks that beating him is embarrassing him and that he's gonna do something to her, and she's, oh, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry. Maybe if we play again, you might beat me. And every single time they play, this blind girl beats him. No matter what strategy he implements, she beats him. They must have played over like 3 or 4 days. Like, he would give her a rest in between, but still, like, over about 3 to 4 days, they constantly played this game all day, from sun up to sundown, sun up to sundown. And every time they played, she beat him. Every time. And so eventually he grew to like her. He grew to respect her. And so his royal guard, who for all intents and purposes are only really there to service him, at least the guy Showerpoof becomes jealous because he's like, the king should not be lowering himself to this human. Like, he should just kill this human and be done with it. Why is he, still doing this? And then it's like he realizes, oh wait, it's because he has to conquer this game. He has to conquer this girl in this game in order to prove it to himself. And every time he doesn't win, it's like it makes him look bad. So the guy Showerpoof wants to kill this girl because he feels like she's holding the king back from doing what he's supposed to be doing, and that's conquering the earth. So Showerpoof, who you might hear me say is a bitch ass nigga, is like trying to kill the girl, but he doesn't want the king to know. Neferpitou is like, she don't really care about the girl. All she's worried about is whatever the king say. So when the king becomes fond of her, it's one night she's in her room and a crow flies through the window and the crow attacks her and she starts crying. And so the king, Meruem, he comes in the room and he sees the girl. Like, when he made up his mind, he's like, I'm gonna go in there. He's like, why am I feeling sympathy for this human? Like, I'm a chimera and I am the top of the food chain. I am evolution. He's like, why am I even thinking about her? Look, I'm just gonna go in there and I'm gonna kill her, and that's gonna be it. He goes in the room with all intent to kill her. And when he sees the crow attacking her, he kills it, like, without hesitation. And he coddles the girl. Didn't even know he was doing it. He just did it. And so he asks her, why didn't you call for help? She was like, oh, because I know people work hard and I didn't want to bother anybody, so I didn't say anything to bother anybody. And it's like, it took him back. It was like, yo, he started to realize what it means to be human. And he started to become human himself, even though he's still a chimera ant. And Chairman Netero would not let that motherfucker forget that shit, which that fight was, oh my God, Chairman Netero versus King Meruem. And boy, oh boy, because Meruem at that point had got to the point, like, he's like, I don't want to fight. I'm done. I'm done killing. I'm done, just like the senseless violence. I'm done. And so Chairman Netero was like, yeah, that's nice, but you're still a chimera ant. You still killed off your species, killed off thousands of people. You have to die. And I've been sent to collect the body. And for a minute, Meruem is not feeling anything. Not at all. But after a while, taking all them goddamn hits, he starts to feel it. But he doesn't go into attack mode until Chairman Netero says, hey, would you like to know your name? And that's when it hit him, because Meruem had asked Showerpoof earlier. He asked Showerpoof and he asked Pitou. He said, hey, y'all all have names. What's my name? And they said, King. Well, Showerpoof called him King. He said, you're the king. That your name. We never knew your name. Your name is King. You're the king. He said, yeah, king is a title. But what's my name? Shao-Poof didn't know. Looked at Pito. Pito dropped her head like, I'm sorry, sir. I wish I could tell you, but I don't know. And he's like, don't be sorry. It's not your fault. So when Chairman Netero goes, would you like to know your name? That motherfucker ears perked up. Hell yeah. Chairman Netero said, well, if you want to know your name, you got to beat me first. And from that point on, it was this motherfucker Meruem trying to get to Chairman Netero. And Chairman Netero using that giant Buddha with 1,000 hands smacking this motherfucker around. Bruh. When Meruem actually figured out, okay, technically he's using his attacks for defense, and that once Meruem figures out a way to get past that defense, that he's going, you know what I'm saying, take out Chairman Netero. Yeah, bro, that shit was over. First thing he took was his left arm. Took my man's left arm, then told him, yeah, I figured you out now. Your right leg is next. They fight for a little bit. Next thing you see, Chairman Netero's right leg go flying. Meruem told him, like, bro, you have no win here. You can't beat me. Chairman Netero hit him with the zero hand. Bruh. Crucial. Didn't kill him. Meruem, who I could only describe as a fusion between Cell and Frieza. Like, if you can imagine that. Meruem lives after Netero's final attack, or what we thought was his final attack. And when he gets back to his feet, Netero goes, I gotta commend you, man. He's like, you did better than I thought you would. But this is where it ends. Come to find out, Chairman Netero has a bomb in his chest. Triggered the bomb in his chest and wiped out what they said, I think 5 kilometers, a 5-kilometer radius diameter. 5-kilometer diameter. No, I said it right, radius, because radius is the distance from the center to the perimeter, and the perimeter itself is the diameter. So, yeah, long story short with that, let's fast forward to Pito's fight. Well, the king lives, barely. Shao-Poof and what did I say? Yukimaro, Shao-Poof and Yukimaro, they find a way to dissolve themselves so that Meruem could consume them, like eat them. Well, he drank them, but still. He consumed the two of them, which regenerated his body, because after that bomb went off, that nigga Meruem was a crispy critter. Like, I mean, for real, this nigga was charcoal black. So Shao-Poof and Yukimaro sacrifice themselves to get Meruem back to 100%. Now, before Netero died, the last words he spoke was Meruem. That was the name your mother called out before she died. Meruem. So, moving forward from that point, Meruem mellowed out and was like, I forgot my mission. I forgot why I'm here. But I don't really want to attack anybody. Don't want to fight. And so Showerpoof is trying to hurry back to kill the girl so that Meruem doesn't remember the girl and doesn't go, oh yeah, right, I was turning over a new leaf. Showerpoof wants him to go back into his old method of I'm the king of the Chimera ants and I'm killing anything that I don't agree with. So, yeah, no. Moving forward, Neferpito is watching over the girl, the Gongi player, and Gon comes in. And I mean, this nigga is hot. Like, he is 38. This nigga is mad, like big mad. And he gets there and he sees the girl being tended to because Killua's grandfather let off an attack on the palace and inadvertently hit the girl without knowing. And Meruem told Pito, hey, I need you to fix the girl. Take care of her. No matter what you do, she's your number one priority. So when Gon showed up, Gon was like, yeah, you need to fix Kite. And so Pito is like, look, I'll do whatever you want me to do, just as long as you let me fix her. Because right now, this girl is the most important thing. And Gon looks like, fix her? Like, the fuck? You sure you ain't killing her? And so Pito is like, look, I promise you. And he's like, I don't trust you. I don't trust you. You took Kite's arm. How can I trust you? You're the enemy. How do I know you ain't trying to kill that girl? She's like, trust me, the king wants her alive, so I'm doing everything I can to keep her that way. And Gon is like, well, how long is that shit gonna take? And this bitch is like, I don't know, 3 hours. That nigga said, bitch, you got one. And this bitch is like, fuck it. So she's fixing the girl. She fixed the girl within like 30 minutes. So for the next 15 minutes, she's just dicking around in her organs, right? So she's trying to pass the time. She's trying to, Now, while she was sitting there waiting, after Gon said that he didn't trust her, Pito broke her own arm in order to show this nigga, hey, I can be trusted. Like, I'm not gonna attack you. Well, long story short, Gon noticed at about the 45-minute mark that Pito had been fixed the girl. And that, like I said, she was just dicking around in her organs. And that nigga Gon gets mad and goes, you know what? Fuck it. Get up. We're done. We're done. You're done. Get up. You're gonna fix Kite right now. And if you don't, I'm gonna kill you. So he takes her all the way to where they had Kite's body. Because as I said, Kite died. Kite died the night he fought Neferpito when she took his head. Freaking, they get there. And Gon is like, okay, so use your Nen ability and heal my friend. Neferpito goes, I don't know how to tell you this, kid. That motherfucker's dead. I don't do corpses. Like, the most I could do is turn his ass into a puppet. Is that what you want? Do you want your friend to be a puppet? And Gon is like, no. And so he starts to cry. He gets sad. He starts to cry. And so he's sitting there thinking to himself, so Pito fixes her own arm. The arm that she broke. She uses her Nen ability to fix her arm. And once she gets full range of her fingers again, Gon is like, wait, she's fixing her arm? He's like, oh, okay, I see. It was a joke. She just doesn't want to fix him. He's like, hey, fix my friend. And it's almost like she doesn't even hear him. And I said, fix my friend. Hey, are you not gonna do that? When she finally gets full range of her hand back, Gon turns the fuck up. And she's like, I told you, that motherfucker's dead. I can't fix a corpse. Gon gets pissed off. Like, turns all the way up. This nigga turns up so hard, he rips the knob off that motherfucker. They say turn it up to 10. This nigga turned it up to 15 and ripped the knob off. Like, bro, he turned up so hard, his Nen turned into a black and white sketch. And then his Nen had a monster's face in it. And when he finally fully transformed, Gon, this 10-year-old kid, had a grown man's body. So you got this 10-year-old in a grown man's body. And Gon is like, yeah, no, let's take this shit outside. I don't want to mess up this hideout. The minute they get outside and they're like not even a yard or two away from, they're not even like 3 meters away from the property, bro, Pito attacks. Because Pito knows she can't beat this motherfucker. But she doesn't want this nigga to turn up on the king. So, her whole plan is to get this nigga Gon to blow his load. And boy howdy, does this motherfucker blow his goddamn load all over her insides. Bro, the first thing he does when she goes to attack him, he sidesteps her and kicks this bitch. Bruh, he kicks her so far in the air, I swore she hit a plane on the way up. And then she starts falling. And this bitch is in free fall. And this nigga sets up and goes, now show me rock. And I'm like, no. And so you see the Nen energy, that shit shoots out like a shockwave and then implodes back into his hand. And then you see this light start to emit from the center of his fist, and it's so bright that it lights up the night. And Pito is in free fall and she's thinking like, fuck, if this motherfucker hits me, I'm done. And as she's coming down, she's in free fall. My man says, John can rock. Smashes this bitch in the face. Like, bruh. And on impact, her face shattered. It didn't explode. You saw her teeth separate. You saw her nose bleed. You saw her cough up blood. And she's upside down, mind you. He hits her. She goes flying through like 3 or 4 oak trees, lands on another one, and she's thinking to herself, thank God he used that shit on me and not the king, because he would have killed the king with that shit. So, freaking, Gon makes his way over to where Pito landed. And that's when the narrator starts telling the whole story about how Gon felt about Kite and all of the emotions that he was going through. And as the narrator's talking, they show you the woods and you see this light. The light comes on and then you hear a loud boom. Then you see the light and then you hear a loud boom. See the light, hear a loud boom. They finally zoom into the forest to show you it's Gon punching the hole where Pito's head used to be. Like the shit is, he beat this bitch to a bloody pulp. And he's got her blood just dripping from his knuckles as he continues to John can rock. Boom. John can rock. Boom. And he is smashing her, or at least where her head used to be. And so when Killua shows up, Killua, for some odd reason, automatically knew that it was Gon, but didn't recognize him. It's like, Gon? Is that you? And Gon turns around so calm. It's okay, Killua. I finished it, just like Kite told me to do. And as he's talking to Killua, Killua's like, bruh, what happened? And before Gon could even say anything, Pito's headless corpse pops back up, because before she fought that nigga, she tagged herself with her nin ability of, I think it's like push past limits or past the limits, in which if she dies, her nin ability puppets her body and continues to attack this motherfucker. It cut off Gon's arm. This motherfucker grabs his arm, throws that shit in the air, flies up after this shit, grabs it, and comes flying down, holding his own motherfucking arm, punches through this bitch's chest. Like, bro, yeah, no, he annihilated her. And then stomped her body to death. Goes, you can have my right arm. Before stomping her to death. Like, the fuck? But yeah, the Chimera Ant arc of Hunter x Hunter was just superb. Hats off, head down, like, yeah. But this would be about the time that my partner would kind of chime in, but as I stated, I'm solo dolo tonight. So if you haven't done it already, I'm sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. Final word. What's the word, nerd? The word is sayonara. So, if you haven't done it already, grab that Fly 93.5 app. Go on your Google Play or your Apple App Store or wherever you get your apps from. Type in Fly 93.5, grab that app, and listen in. If you can't get us that way, don't worry, player, we got you. You can hit us up at radio.fly935.com/listen and check us out, man. You can tap in anytime. We got we got music, hip hop. We got Anime and Chill. We got the replays of Anime and Chill running every Tuesday at 3 p.m. That's right after DJ Dante's Lunch Rush Mix. If you want to hit us up on YouTube. Type in Anime and Chill. Go ahead, subscribe. Check out some of the previous episodes you might have missed, and come join us, man. You want to hit us up on Instagram, is at Anime and Chill 88, all one word. If you want to hit us up on Twitter, it's at Armand_Joseph. That's ARMOND_JOSEPH. If you want to hit us up on Facebook, it's at Armand.Joseph.9. That's ARMOND.JOSEPH.9. So go ahead and tap in, check us out, man. And yeah, man, it's about that time. So kick your feet up, grab your favorite person, throw on your favorite tunes. It's time to Anime and Chill, man. Peace.
Dynamic entrance kicking in the door like God. Turn up to the max, shooting energy up to the sky. Tap into the station 935, it's time to rock. Swooshy color backgrounds just to let you know we fly. Undefeated, never beaten, cause we got the skill. Striking all this black gold, you would think we had a drill. We got what you need, homie, so come and get your fill. Relax and unwind, it's time to Anime and Chill. It's time to Anime and Chill.